Thanks, everyone.
สวัสดีครับอาจารย์ครับ
สวัสดีค่ะท่านอาจารย์ค่ะ
สวัสดีครับท่านอาจารย์สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
I'm on. Ajahn, I've been thinking more about indifferent feeling and how it's without Panya virtually impossible to know whether that.
Yeah, why not? It's there now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But no understanding that it's a reality which feel because it's so indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a reality arises with each moment. But when it's indifferent, it's so very subtle that it cannot be known at all. But when it's pleasant or unpleasant, it can be known. But even when there's no pleasant feeling or no unpleasant feeling, it's there. There must be a reality which feels. Otherwise, how come such unpleasant and pleasant feelings if there's now no any feeling at all? It's there, but it's not moment that is strong enough to be known.
Well, that's true. And it's,
Yeah.
I would think it's very often, mostly a kusala feeling.
But I think that the intention to find out what is there is not the way that it can appear to understanding at all. Because in that moment, a kusala is there, trying to understand, wanting to know it. So it's hidden because the moment of wanting and trying to cover up whatever is there as it is. Because that moment, wanting, craving, attaching, is there but not seen as it's a reality. That's why without understanding what is there in a moment, there can never be the understanding of anything at all as it is. Only just learn about it, understand the way it is, but what is there? Unknown. As long as not enough intellectual understanding developed to condition moment of learning to have firm confidence of the truth. Life exists only at a moment. And that moment, no matter what, is not known as a reality. The other moment cannot be known as realities. That's why just one moment, right understand the reality at that very moment. But since each moment arises and falls away so very rapidly, what appears now, and no matter when and where, it appears as nimitta of a reality. But now there are so many things around, nimitta of everything. That's why, in truth, one lives in the world of nimitta all the time, like dreaming all the time about that which appears not as it is, but as something from birth to death. But the truth is that without just one moment, there cannot be life at all. And what is there in a moment? If that object is not known as it is by way of nimitta, it's impossible to understand what is there now. For example, we see a flower, in truth, not a flower, but as soon as it's there, it's taken from something as flower or some other things around all the time. So how can there be intention just to understand what is there like feeling or other reality? Impossible. But the understanding built up little by little. What is there is so true, but the truth of it hasn't been known yet as it is. But learning to understand what is there in life right now and at the moment next. That can be the understanding of the truth is that just live in the world of dreaming about things, about what is there as something all the time. But what is the truth? One moment arising falling, another moment succeed instantly, arising and falling. So very fast. That's why, how can it be known if there's no understanding of the truth of what is there now at all? That's why right understanding, samadhi, of the Eightfold Path of the Four Arya Satya begins to understand that right understanding is the path leading to understand that no one at all. There must be only one reality appearing at a time in a moment, but it's known as nimitta of that seeing or thinking or whatever is there now appearing. Because the rapidity of the succession of moment to moment is so very, very fast. Like now, see? How can there be so many things without that which appears as impinged on the ideas? Conditioned seeing of only that which impinges on it. Just learn to understand. No one understands. The understanding develops from hearing and considering. It will let go. The idea of I see, which has been accumulated so long time ago. So how can it is wearing away so soon? Little by little, no one there at all. And that is Intl.Dhamma Parami. The confidence of the truth right now is that confidence enough of that which sees now as not I or anything at all. So the way or the path leading to penetrate the truth of what is there in a moment is so very subtle, but it can be because it's there. It depends on patience and effort, not to just ignore it or not seeing the precious moment of beginning to understand what is there as it hasn't been known before in life. So it's so precious that before death, there can be a moment of understanding what is there, little by little, moment to moment, to eradicate the idea of self, wrong understanding, ignorance, and attachment at that very moment, at that very level, to understand what the world is and what is life and what is a moment, this moment. So even now, there is the indifferent feeling, but it's gone instantly all the time. And if we don't talk about it, who knows that there is a reality which feels indifferently, not like present feeling or unpleasant feeling, bodily or mentally at all are there, covered. But it can be known little by little from hearing and considering, and that is the letting go, wrong understanding at level of intellectual understanding. That's why that's not enough. Even hearing about seeing right now, thinking right now, no directly understanding of the truth that is there, so very short, because there's so many things together now, saying many different things and thinking about it and hearing and considering and so on. That's why understanding that the truth is so very deeply, very subtle there, down, arising and falling away now. And it can be known little by little to let go ignorance, not understanding the truth, and wrong understanding, taking it for something all the time. And other akusala, unwholesome realities conditioned by ignorance and attachment, aversion, and so on in daily life. That's why if there's no understanding of what is there as it is directly now, it's impossible to let go the idea of self, to understand the truth that actually there's no thing and no one, because what is there now is conditioned to arise and falls away instantly. Is that true? To be truthful to the truth, literally to be firm, confident of the truth. Otherwise, what is there now is talked about on and on. So we talk about just one reality at a time to begin to careful, considering whether it's true or not. And that is the only way to understand the teachings of Buddha about this moment. What is there? To be known by oneself, to understand by oneself, not by the other. Oneself means no one, but understanding begins to understand intellectually. Is that true? Can it be changed? Can anyone do anything? Is there anyone or anything? Otherwise, it's impossible to have more understanding, keener and keener and clearer and clearer to understand what is there now. That's why the teachings of the Buddha has to be from the very beginning, pariyatti, very keen, very skillful understanding. What is it now? What is there now? And understand the different level of understanding. As long as it's not directly understand what is there now, even hardness, which is touched, so subtle, it arises and falls away as the other reality right now. But it's not known, even it appears as hardness. But consider hardness which appears, how short it is, because they're seeing and thinking and hearing too. That's why the reality right now does not appear as it is, not appear well in Tipitaka. It appears well to right understanding of its truth. That's why even in different feeling, no expectation to know it. It is now, but no expectation to try to find out, as long as the understanding of the reality as no one, it's only that which arises and experience and feels and remember different ones by conditions. This is understanding firmly about the subtlety of what is there now appearing. It's not there anymore. The idea of self is so very firm. How can it be less? Only right understanding, one word at a time, gradually, conditionally, very firm, confidence of the truth that is there now to be known. If this moment is not known, how can there be the understanding of the present, the indifferent feeling right now? And at moment of expectation, Loka is there, lurking, unknown all the time, until it's known. Not try to know it, not try to have it less, not try to have none of it at all arising, but understanding the reality which experiences no matter what. Like seeing and hearing and thinking and liking. No one, because it just experience now. That's why the citta is very, very important, because it experiences the object right now clearer than the other mental reality arising with it. Ignorance is there at this moment, not understanding the truth of what is there, not understanding indifferent feeling which is there now. That's why we learn to understand what is there in a moment, to understand the truth of it, that it cannot be taken for I or anything at all, because the right understanding which is developed from moment to moment can directly experience the nimitta of the arising and falling away of what is there. Without understanding the subtlety of realities, of right understanding and other reality, it's impossible to let go until it is eradicated, absolutely, permanently, never to arise again. But now, the understanding of it, so it conditions the arising of Dhamma on and on, endlessly, from life to life. That's why Parami is so very important. Without Parami, how can there be the understanding of what is there? Gradually, that it's there, a reality. Beginning to understand what is there. It's there, a reality. Until the characteristic like feeling, remembering, and what is there as pleasant or unpleasant, attachment or aversion, as we say, pop up. Now everything pops up, but not understanding its reality as it is. So the popping up is not known as it popped up from nothing and then falls away. The words of the truth is there to understand what is there now. Because now is now. That's why the path to realize the truth is the fourth noble truth. Without it, how can there be the first one? Now, whatever arises falls away. So what is there has arisen, so it's gone. Unknowingly, continuously from one moment to another moment. By conditions. No expectation, what will be next moment? Because it's unexpectedly. By conditions. And this condition, this vipassana jnana, the second one, understanding the conditions for what is there appearing, with understanding of conditions from the very beginning, because intellectual understanding conditioned the patipatti, and the patipatti conditioned pativedana. So it's not just to find out the unpleasant feeling right now to be known, but hearing what is there, even that is known, is conditioned. Why not pleasant object? Why is unpleasant object? By conditions. But it does mean that the seeing condition it to be pleasant or unpleasant. But why citta arises to experience such unpleasant or such pleasant?
Right, the citta, does not condition feeling. No.
Why not?
It's the jetasikas, which would arise through from accumulations.
That's why that is the proximate cause. It means that that is also other cause. For example, with our chitta and feeling aroused,
No.
but this one patsya for pleasant feeling to arise.
Yes, I see what you're saying. Yeah, for sure.
So the chitta and the cetasikas which arise together all condition each other
Right.
by sahajata paccaya, samanantra paccaya. They follow each one.
Right. I think where I was coming from on that was that without one of the conditions, yes, for feeling of whatever kind, there has to be jitta experiencing an object for sure. But so if there's no jitta, it won't happen. But if there are also no accumulations, that's a dream, a fantasy. But if there were to be no accumulations for the arising, well, let's take wrong view, for instance, that won't arise. This is a bit theoretical. That won't arise if there's no, that would also require a jitta to arise. So wrong view is not just something that exists in the abstract, it arises with the jitta. So one is necessary to the other.
So if you're talking about wrong view, yes, there has to be the accumulation of wrong view, yes. And there also has to be the chitta and other cetasikas that arises with, and other conditions as well. There has to be the previous chitta and so on. But if we're talking about indifferent feeling, then we have to know if we're talking about the indifferent feeling that arises with moments of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touching, for example, which are vipaka, the result of dhamma, yes. And different from if it's the indifferent feeling that arises with ignorance now or very weak attachment now by the accumulated tendency. So different conditions for different moments of indifferent feeling.
Yeah, okay. So the indifferent feeling that arises with attachment now, yes, because of course it would arise. It arises with all the cetasikas. So yes, not indifferent feeling, but feeling.
So this feeling at every moment. So indifferent feeling can arise with vipaka cittas, or it can arise with akusala cittas, or even with kusala cittas when it's just very, very slight kusala. Instead of with pleasant feeling can be indifferent feeling. Usually attachment was with pleasant feeling, especially the attachment that's known, and the same with kusala, but they can arise with indifferent feeling. And when there's ignorance, it's always with indifferent feeling.
Okay, so yes, ignorance is always right. I don't where I was getting, I can't explain where I was getting a bit mixed up, but thank you.
And last time to Tao, we were talking about studying the Dhamma, and Ajahn was asking you what is studying, because people think about studying as learning a lot of detailed knowledge in the text, but the emphasis was on this moment and what appears now, because if there's no understanding of what appears now, such as feeling, whatever feeling it is, or sound now, or hearing now, there can never be the letting go of the idea of my feeling, my hearing, or something that is heard or seen. So the study has to come back to the understanding of one reality at a time when it appears. Do you have any comment on this? I think we mentioned we might continue the topic.
We have to do something. We have to do something. And in my case, it's study. I feel it's important in my life. It's the reason why I study. But of course, the most important thing is development of sati and panya. But we need activities in which sati and panya should arise. So each activity differs from one person to another person. And in my case, it's
So
study.
is there any conflict? For example, one person likes cooking, where you like cooking too, and one person likes driving their car or swimming, and another likes reading the texts and learning Pali, for example, different accumulations, different interests. But whatever the interests, whatever the daily life activities, still the true study that the Buddha taught about is about the understanding at this very moment, no matter when or where. So that's why the teachings are still so true now as in his time, even though the activities are different. We're not living in the forest and we're not going on Pindabat, but still the seeing is the same, hearing is the same, pleasant, unpleasant, and different feeling are just the same. So the realities, the truths are the same. So there can be the study, no matter what the activities, what are the interests. So it's not a matter of not opening the books or opening the books. It's not a matter of not cooking or cooking, but understanding more about what appears one moment at a time, one reality at a time. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. But each person differs based on his or her asaya. So we have to have our own life based on our asaya. But we know that the important thing is understanding oneself and developing sati and panya, knowing that there is no self.
Right. So the true study is the study of the reality. The feeling is just a feeling. It's not my pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling or indifferent feeling, because without the study of the reality now, there will always be the idea that I am doing something, or I have to make a choice, or I can make certain realities arise, or I see now, or I hear now. So the point of the true study, the study of the truth, is to understand what appears, because as you say, those different asya, anusya, especially the anusya, the unwholesome tendencies have been accumulated for countless lifetimes. So without the understanding, they always will condition the wrong understanding and craving and ignorance as usual.
Yeah.
Tadao, earlier you talked about an activity, and you said everyone needs an activity or activities that condition the arising of sati and panya. What did you have in mind there? And can an activity condition the arising of sati and panya?
Yeah, each one has one's own life. But important thing is there shouldn't be any rules. I do not set any rules for having sati and panya. It's all anatta. And I see myself a very lazy person, but I don't think it's a good idea to set a rule to have sati and panya. I don't set any rules, and it's my nature.
Right, but when we talk about an activity that conditions sati and panya, doesn't that imply some sort of, not exactly rule, but some particular activity
No,
that
everybody has.
will prove a better condition for the arising of sati panya?
No, everybody has different accumulation of Ksala and Aksala. So it cannot help not to have life based on one's accumulation, but it's not good to have some kind of expectation that when doing this and that would lead to more Satyapanya. It's a wrong understanding. So just live ordinary life without doing anything special.
Special, yes. Good. Thank you. So what are the conditions for Satyapanya to arise then?
In my case, attending Zoom, reading Dhamma study in group email, and I read a lot of old files. Now I've been studying the issue of jhana, samatha, and which is not easy at all. But I'm patient. I have a patience. So these things, I believe that lead to better understanding of, this is Vishya, but better understanding of this moment.
So in what sense can studying about jhana lead to better understanding of this moment? Or is that just your experience?
No, it's for my book. It's not easy matter at all. And I'm reading all the files listed in the entries of jhana, and it's not easy at all. And it doesn't help me in any direct manner to have sort of a more Satyapanya, but various kinds of knowledge may eventually lead me to understand what.
So could we generalize and just say that considering the Dhamma is a condition for the arising of Satyapanya? Properly.
Yeah. It's my understanding.
And then considering the Dhamma can be a matter of those accumulations that you spoke about earlier because of the accumulated interest in the Dhamma. And having heard it, having considered it to a certain extent, one has confidence that it contains information that is worth knowing about.
Yeah. You know, I appreciate Sarah and Jonathan, you guys, because you have so much accumulation of knowledge, and it's very inspiring. I have no intention of sort of mimicking you guys, but it's nothing wrong to have a vast knowledge of Buddhism without no expectation that having such knowledge would lead necessarily to the development of Satyapanya. Satyapanya may arise by themselves, but it's nothing wrong nothing wrong for Satyapanya to be supported by some kind of intellectual understanding.
And coming back to one word, because you were asking me about this word on DSG, and you just mentioned it now, samatha. So you were asking about what samatha is, and I was saying it's calmness, passaddhi cetasika, not concentration. So my question to you is there any samatha now?
I don't know.
The reason I'm asking is people think that it is just something that is developed for those attaining jhana or something like this. But there is calmness now whenever the citta is kusala, at any moment of wholesome citta, that there is calmness, there is passaddhi, cetasika arising. So when understanding develops now, when we talk about seeing now, hearing now, and there's a little more understanding about the reality now, pleasant feeling, indifferent feeling, at the moments of wise considering or a little understanding, there is calmness at those moments. Just like there's also calmness at moments of kindness or moments of generosity, different from the moments of trying to get something or clinging or trying to work out the answer or thinking of oneself as usual. So when we read about samatha, actually it's now at a moment of when there is calm, when the citta is calm, free from akusala for a moment. So for any kind of development of kusala or calmness, there has to be understanding of what calm is and when it arises. Otherwise, people concentrate or focus or think they're developing samatha on the way towards jhana and so on, but not understanding what calmness is even now at this moment. So we can begin to consider whether the citta is calm even now.
In my daily life, I know there are two occasions in which I experience calmness. One occasion is when verses, Pali verses or Pali stanza comes into my mind. Then I can say that I experience calmness, but that is not so much to do with sati and panya. I do not have any sort of expectation of having more and more sati and panya just by repeating Pali passages in my mind. It's a very natural thing, and I experience some kind of calmness. And of course, there are lots of attachment to that kind of sort of events in my daily life. And another occasion in which I experience calmness is I'm a very slow writer, and I read possibly 1,000 times the passage I've written. And that is not proofreading. That is not proofreading, but I love reading what I've written because it gives me lots of joy. And of course, it becomes an object of attachment, but I experience calmness.
And
So
when there is enjoyment or when there is attachment, can there be calmness at those moments?
Yeah, and attachment.
So no calmness at those moments.
Calmness and attachment.
Because mostly what we think of as calmness in a day, like when relaxing on the beach or walking through the forest or looking at the sunset, or like you say, maybe reading the text, mostly there is lobha there, pleasant feeling, and it seems so sabai, it seems so calm and tranquil. But actually, this is the cheating Dhamma, the lobha that is taken for calmness. And in your first example, when thinking of the Pali stanza, you said there's no sati and panya, but if there is no sati and panya, how can it be known that there is any calm? Because sati has to arise with kusala citas. So if there's no sati, there cannot be calm. And if there is no panya, how can it be known whether or not there is any sati or any calm? So it's just an assumption because it seems calm, it seems pleasant. So it's subtle. So only understanding can know when it appears. Otherwise, we think there is calm, or people think they're developing calm when they're focusing on a objects sitting quietly, but mostly it's loba.
Yeah, exactly. But we can help.
So the calmness or samatha, the passaddhi, can only arise with kusala citas, and without understanding, it can't be known at all. And it's different from, because you were asking, it's different from concentration, which is samadhi, ekagata, cetasika, which arises with every citta and focuses on the object. So at those moments of remembering the stanza and reading over what you've written, just like now, or when cooking or opening the book, there's ekagata cetasika at every moment.
Yeah.
And when the concentration is stronger, like when focusing on the cooking or when reciting the Pali, for example, when it's more obvious, mostly, again, it's akusala concentration with attachment.
Yeah.
So that's why understanding has to consider carefully, and because it's so easy to be tricked by attachment,
yeah,
or focusing or concentration, or taking what is pleasant and tranquil for being calm.
yeah. But one learns these things gradually.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think this is what Ajahn means when she talks about being truthful to the truth and understanding how subtle the realities are, because it's so easy to take the pleasant for calm or the focusing for wholesome concentration and so on.
Yeah, there are so many aksara moments in the activity which we think kusala. So there are lots of aksara moments, but we can help. We have to just keep doing what we think kusala.
And that's why the more understanding, the more ignorance is revealed, because, and the more attachment is revealed. Better to know, little by little.
So this Zoom is an excellent opportunity to see these things. And in one sutta, as you know well, associating with wise people is not half of the Dhamma, but it's 100% Dhamma. So I'm just following everybody. That's all I'm doing. Yeah.
Yes, if we don't have friends to point out or help us to consider more, we just go on thinking in our own way, thinking that calm and wholesome concentration are being developed, for example, when actually it's just loba that's being accumulated more. So we need wise friends. So we appreciate that you can join us and bring up these topics.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And isn't it also dangerous, loba, because of it arises with wrong view and can lead to the wrong understanding of thinking that it is the right path, which leads to even to jhana, because it arises with a pleasant feeling, which we always really cling to with loba, and we that's the danger of not having the right understanding is the wrong understanding, which is wrong view, and so studying for samatha when there is the opportunity to study for reality as they are is how can I say, it's not the right path, is it? Tadao?
At least we are not obsessed with wrong understanding. We have a faith that we have right understanding to a large extent. But in our daily life, doesn't matter. We in our activities, which we think kusala, is still there are lots of moments of akusala. We can help. We shouldn't be afraid of experiencing akusala in doing things which we think kusala. We can help. It's our nature. It's our answer. All we can do is do our best and follow the wise person and listen to her and think about what we've heard. That's all we can do. Yeah. But and the point is that I don't think our activities sort of smeared by wrong understanding. We have a firm confidence that we have a right understanding to a large extent, despite the fact that aksara moments arise all the time, but we can't help. We shouldn't be afraid of having aksara moments. It's our nature.
Yeah, by listening and by understanding about wrong understanding, we can maybe instead of studying about samatha or studying about the teachings of the Buddha, which includes samatha because by accumulations, not by wanting to develop it, because it's more important to develop right understanding than just kusala without understanding.
Yeah, I have no inclination of practicing so-called meditation. It's not my interest, but also it's my understanding that it's nothing wrong to know many things about Buddhism. And if somebody asks me what samatha is, I should be able to answer that question.
Is samatha Buddhism?
Oh, samatha is a part of Buddhism, no doubt. Ekagata, samadhi, and samatha. Samatha, as far as I know, samatha refers to jhana, and It's not our interest to develop jhana, but it's my understanding that it's nothing wrong to understand what samatha is.
Yeah. Yeah, Ajahn explained the realities because the Aryan Pitaka. So we study the reality, but yeah, maybe the studying you mean is just like for academical purpose of not for developing jhana, but for just understanding the realities of samatha. I suppose it's not so bad. Anyway, nice talking to you.
Yeah, as Sarah said, samatha occurs, this such moment occurs in our daily life. We need not sit, we need not concentrate on anything, but this moment occurs. But also, Kunsuchi often said that developing actual jhana, rupa jhana, arupa jhana, are not for ordinary puthujjana, it's for mahapurisa, great men, great women. And they are like Olympians. We are just, we run possibly 100 meters, we may take 30 seconds to run 100 meters. So we are not able to copy, or we are not able to follow these Mahapurisa. But understanding that these type of kusala is nothing wrong to know, is my understanding. And we know that during sitting or contemplating on one object doesn't do, or do not do anything for us because it's not our concern. And I know that.
Well, I think that you could say it's not our concern, but first of all, it's not the development of calm or kusala of any kind, just focusing on an object, trying to be calm or trying to concentrate. Actually, it's the development of lobha, as people think about. And I think the other point that Alberto was making, that even if there is the understanding of calm and the interest to develop samatha bhavana, and there is the development of calm right up to jhana, actually can be said it's not the right path. The right path is just the understanding of realities as anatta now, regardless of whether samatha bhavana is developed as well or not. So the right path always comes back to the understanding now of what appears, understanding what is Dhamma, what is anatta at this very moment. Because only this right path can lead to the eradication of akusala completely and lead to the end of samsara. But usually what is considered as the development of calm, like you mentioned, focusing on an object, actually has nothing to do with samatha bhavana, like just focusing now on one's breath or focusing on a colored object. No understanding of what breath is, no understanding of what calm is, no understanding of what kusala is. So it's bound to be wrong practice, which I think is Alberto's other point.
understanding calmness is not helpful in the sense that, in my case, Pali stanza or Pali passages come to in my mind very naturally. And I used to think that listening directly to Buddha's words or repeating his words helped me to develop sati and panya. But I've realized that it's not so much to do with sati and panya. It's more to do with calmness. And that's it. Not more than that is my meditation.
Also, I'd just like to make one quick comment, that the development of calm up to the level of jhana was, of course, known before the Buddha's enlightenment. So in that sense also, it can't be regarded as of the essence of the Buddha's teaching. Of course, in his teaching, he talks about all kinds of kusala, but the essence of his teaching is the development of insight. We have to keep that in mind.
Yeah. I'm learning these things by reading all the files.
And I'm talking about calmness now, calmness at the moment of understanding now, calmness at the moment of kusala now. But you're talking about samatha and jhana. But what about calmness now? So I think it has to always come back to this moment. Otherwise, we kind of have a story or an idea of samatha and jhana. But what about beginning to understand when the citta is calm now, or what the reality is at this moment?
Yeah, development of jhana is for the Olympians, not for us. It's not our concern. And it's not have any strong, doesn't have any effect on development of sati and panya.
Also, if I can say, when we follow our inclinations, it's usually not the right path, because we follow our accumulation, which must be accumulation of ignorance and all other kilesas, but even if it's wrong, it's there is attachment because of the pleasant feeling which we get out of the activity we like, and so we get stuck in that, and we don't have the opportunity to develop the understanding of reality. As we don't have the chance to improve our understanding of the truth of the actual truth of the present moment, which is so.
It's not true. I think we must have accumulated fair amount of panya in our last life, in our previous lives. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't appreciate what Constantine is saying. The reason why we can appreciate what she's saying is that we've heard this kind of things many times in our previous lives. So although we have sort of very unwholesome ansaya, we still have panya. We have to trust our panya, which we've accumulated. Because of that panya, we appreciate this kind of discussion. So I don't know how much panya we have, but at least we have some. It's the reason we listen to this kind of discussion.
Perhaps Ajahn would like to add more comments as well.
I think that we talk a lot about calmness, but there can be a little more understanding of the truth of it when there is the wise considering again and again and again. It's not just the word calmness, but it's a reality. When we use the term a reality, it's real and it's different from other realities. So what is it in truth? It's not I, it's a reality which is away from akusala. No matter what kind of akusala is there, no calmness at all, because it's akusala. So what is the meaning? The meaning of calmness, away from akusala. It means that at that moment when calm is there, akusala cannot be there together at all. It's away, far from akusala or lobha, dosa, and moha. That's why it's a wholesome cetasika arises with any kind of wholesome cittas, whether at moment of giving away things for the other, for the benefit of the others only, not for your sake at all. When there is the thinking about oneself to get something in return and so on, it's not calm. So calm is quite away from all kinds of akusala. At moment of giving for the receiver's sake, it's calm to help them, to have them away from dukkha and disease or painful and so on. At moment of speech, speak softly, nicely, kindly, it's calm, not with attachment or aversion at all. So it's moment of calm when it's kusala or wholesome cittas, even kriya citta with wholesome roots. See, that's why no matter now, at moment of listening carefully, beginning to understand, and at moment of understanding, it's calm. No akusala can be there at all. And when we talk about calmness, it seems like we're talking about a very, very high degree of calmness, like jhana, first jhana, second jhana, until the arupa jhana. But what about calm at moment of being kusala? It's there. It's no one. But it's only that degree of giving or sila through body and speech. But now, understanding the truth, who knows that it's calm at moment of understanding. So when one is unkind, no calm. When one is stingy or having aversion towards the other, it's not calm. So we think about the high degree of calmness, but what about the development of calmness in life at moment of being kind to the other? Someone might think that recite metta, so metta can arise. Impossible, not by reciting. At that moment, who recites, what for? To be calm, but that's no way to condition calmness at all. But the moment of akusala, no matter what kind, and understanding more that in a day, there are many, many moments of akusala. So one can understand the difference between wholesomeness and unwholesomeness. That's why it's begin to condition the manners through speech or words to be calm at that very moment, at that situation, see. And who knows, at moment of just getting irritation, irritated to whatever is there. It's not calm. So what about when there is kindness, compassion? It's calm. So develop it in daily life and see the danger of akusala. The person who develops calmness sees the danger of akusala. That's why they know the different moments between calmness and uncalm at that very moment. And understanding knows that it's akusala. Otherwise, there cannot be calmness developed without understanding what moment is akusala, no calmness at all, and what moment is calm, very nice, very kind, having compassion to everyone. So beginning not just all around, everyone recited in what plane, but what about now? Who's there? What's there? What situation? Are you disturbed, wavered by situation and words and politics and so on? But there can be calmness when there's understanding, more calmness. But when there's no understanding, it's by conditions. The latent tendency accumulated to be kusala in this way or that way, through speech or deeds or thought, see, all by conditions. That's why no matter it is kusala moment of dana or sila, without understanding, it cannot be calmer at all. That's why thinking about moment of giving away things for the others without pride, or just being glad that one has done it and so on, it's my own, that is not calm. But at moment of thinking about moment of being able to give away akusala as well, can condition moment of thinking with right understanding, with calmness, seeing the characteristic of kusala, that kusala is calm. It can develop by itself more calm at that very moment. So the development of calmness is not just concentrate or focus on any object with desire, attachment, just to have more concentration. That's not calmness at all. It is it is not samatha bhavana at all. At moment of doing good deeds, seeing the danger of akusala, compassion with the others, trouble, and so on, at that moment is the development of calmness. Because when there is more understanding, it can see it's dangerous to dislike the person, this person, or doing not unwholesome manners to the others and so on. That's the way to understand calmness as its unreality, which is wholesome. But as long as it's not known as just a reality arising by conditions, it's still I. And at that moment of I, it's not calm. That's why learning to understand the truth of whatever is there, a little more, in order to let go wrong understanding of trying to focus on an object in order to become, it's impossible. Just want to do, just want to concentrate, just want to become is akusala. It's not calm at all. So how can the moment of akusala without calm develop to the degree it can be more and more calmness to the degree of jhana, stage by stage? That's why all depends on different levels of understanding. Samatha bhavana, seeing the danger of akusala, not want to become different. That's why even samatha bhavana needs right understanding. Otherwise, one thinks that one is developing or doing or whatever to have calmness. It cannot be calm at all. At that very moment, it is attachment, and on with attachment, until sometimes someone lose the consciousness and something happened. So very funny moment action. In Thailand, someone just walk like the dog or try to do something so different, not by one's own understanding, no understanding. So such funny happenings is conditioned unknowingly. Someone just turn around and so on. Is that calmness? Not at all. That's why even the nature of calmness has been taught by the enlightened one. Otherwise, people mistake that which is not calm as calm. So now, is that calmness? At moment of understanding, it's calm. But what about the other moment? Even the moment of understanding is calm. It's not known as not self, not me, not anyone at all. So no matter we're talking about calmness, or right understanding, or vipassana, or whatever, they are realities just arising, falling away by conditions. So how can it be anything or something? This is the way to understand the absolute truth of what is there. So what is heard now can be object of considering wisely or unwisely, careful or not careful at all, by conditions, all by conditions, and the understanding with compassion to all kinds of ignorance, not anyone at all Adamans, no matter what is there as different people, different idea, and different acts, different speech, they are all Dhammas only. That's why learn to understand that in truth, what is the world? Not the world of things as it looks or as it appears, but in truth, it's just the world of that which is conditioned to arise so very rapidly, unknown, until the enlightenment understand each moment, each reality as it is. That's why he said after his enlightenment, Dhamma is so very subtle. See? And what about the subtlety of what we are talking about at different degrees, different stages, even calmness, to understand whether it's calm or not. So right understanding does not condition moment of trying to sit still and concentrate on anything as calm, impossible. That's why to be truthful to the truth with careful study to understand the real reality, which is calm, pasati, cetasika. Citta, kaya, pasati, citta pasati, kaya pasati. See, it needs this true cetasika at any moment of wholesome speech or deeds or thought. So anyone who just sits and we think that that person has reached different degrees of calmness, is that right? So understand beforehand what is calmness in order not to mistake the action or the deeds that is there as the development of calmness. It's a moment of trying to be calm without any understanding of that very moment, whether it's calm or not. Otherwise, the factors of calmness does not appear. For example, vitakka, vichara, and so on. Without the teachings of the enlightened one, how can there be the true, right understanding of what is there as it is? Very temporarily, very short, and then gone. Not easily to be known, but it can be known from hearing, considering, beginning to let go one's own idea or one's own thought without any understanding at all. Just take it at will. So, in order to understand calmness, it has to be, is there calmness now? if not when it's there, known or unknown as usual. Now or later, depends on conditions. Is it calm to understand? All depends on conditions. Is it a moment of letting go, attachment and ignorance and wrong understanding?
The two kinds of calm Ajahn referred to, chitta passaddhi and kaya passaddhi. These refer to the calm of the chitta and the calm of the chaitasikas, kaya. So when, at any moment of kusala, the chitta is calm and the chaitasikas that arise together with it. There is calmness of the chaitasikas also. These are two different chaitasikas. So they accumulate at moments of kusala and they also condition each other, back to Anne's point. So it's now a moment of wise considering or understanding or reflection of what is right. Quite different from ordinary ideas of what is calm.
Sarah. Could you repeat what kaya passaddhi is? I thought kaya passaddhi means passaddhi of the body.
Well, as we've discussed before, there are two meanings of kaya. Well, no, one meaning of kaya, which means coming together, and it can refer to the kaya that is taken for the body. For example, when we talk about kayanupassati, it's referring to the rupas that are taken for the body. But when we refer to kaya passaddhi, it's referring to the chaitasikas, the calming of the chaitasikas. So kaya can refer to chaitasikas or body. So it depends on the context. So the chaitasikas are rising together. So the passaddhi is the calming of the chaitasikas and the calming of the citta. So at any moment of kusala, there is citta and kaya passaddhi, all referring to the namas, not the rupas, not the physical body at all.
Yeah, passaddhi is a difficult word to understand because there is piti and there is also sukha. Both are jhana factors. And then there is passaddhi. I cannot differentiate piti, sukha, and passaddhi from each other. They are difficult to understand.
Okay, we can go into more detail about piti and sukha next time, perhaps. Piti can be wholesome or unwholesome, joy. Sukha can be pleasant feeling, that is kusala or akusala. But passaddhi, chaitasika, the two kinds of passaddhi, chaitasika, can only arise with kusala chittas. It cannot arise with attachment. When there's a lot of attachment now, there can be piti with lobha. There can be pleasant feeling with lobha, but there cannot be calm at the moment of attachment or at the moment of trying to concentrate. So passaddhi is the calm that only arises with kusala chittas.
Oh.
No, the opposite of udacha or restlessness or disturbance. When the citta is calm, just giving and thinking of the other's benefit, it's calm, no disturbance. When it's thinking of what I can get in return or wondering if the recipient will like the object, the citta is disturbed, restless, no calmness at all at those moments.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
In the moment of kindness, just thinking of the other's welfare with kindness, the citta is calm. But at the moment of not wishing to be kind to a certain person or something like this, when it's not true kindness, when it's selective kindness, then the citta is agitated. So it's only arising with kusala cittas. And it has to be understood when it appears now, not by just reading in the book about the jhana factors. There has to be the beginning of calmness now at moments of kindness or generosity or understanding when it appears.
Good, good, very good. Thank you. So in a sense, passaddhi is nothing to do with concentration.
Completely different mental factors. So concentration is ekaggata, cetasika, that arises with every citta at every moment in life. It can be vipaka, kusala, akusala, kiriya, depending on the citta and the other factors it arises with, focusing on one object that appears. But passaddhi, calmness, cannot arise with akusala cittas.
Good, 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 very good.
I think it's about time so we can carry on. Anything more from this topic or the other ones you mentioned next time, perhaps?
Okay, thank you very much.